In a world where stories connect us, there's a place where healing, hope, and growth unites. Welcome to The Truth Podcast Show, where remarkable women and men share their personal journeys, their triumphs, and their truths. I believe in the power of storytelling. It inspires, heals, and unites us. Our inspirational women and men are everyday people overcoming adversities, which shows us the strength of the human spirit, offering hope to those who need it most. But we don't just stop with personal stories. We also spotlight organizations making a real impact, offering resources and opportunities to empower the community. These organizations are our backbones to driving change and providing the support that heals. Together, we're building a stronger, more connected neighborhoods. The Truth Podcast Show is a space for healing, for inspiration, and for learning from each other. Whether it's overcoming personal struggles or finding the right resources, we're here to guide you in your journey. We believe that together we can rise above the challenges and make a difference. So join us each week on Mondays at 8 p.m. Central Time. You can find us on the Life Show Podcast Network on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn at 8 p.m. Central Time. As we share stories that connect us all. Because your story, your truth, can help someone else's heart. Catch you on Mondays. Peace out. What up, world? It's your girl, Kasira Elvie, and this is The Truth Podcast. And my very first, out of the 2 years we've been doing this, in-person interview. And I'm just going to tell y'all who my inspirational woman of the evening is today, because she's right here. I don't want to do all the talking today. She's just sitting here. But this is my lovely cousin, Tinuke, Angola, you all. Say hey, y'all.
Hey. Greetings, blessings, light, and love, all you beautiful souls. I hope I will be a source of inspiration to you today, because today I am going to talk to you about total self-love. And the first thing that you should do is look in the mirror. First thing, without any filters, without any lashes, without anything but your own natural self. And see what a beautiful creature that the good Lord created. Look at your perfection. No one else is exactly like you, not even your own children. And you must love that image.
And I'll expound on that. Yes. Yes, she started already, you all. Yes, this is my blood cousin. We do kind of look alike, got strong genes. Yes, we do. So I want to tell you all that, remember I was telling you last time we were talking about how the sun comes and clouds they block the sun sometime, but we're still shining. I can let y'all know transparently, the sun is blocked by a lot of clouds, but I asked that y'all pray for me, and it brought up so many things that I am just so ready to talk about. Maybe, who knows, Tinuke may talk about it. And one of these things are that, I'm normally transparent. I kind of died down a little bit with speaking a lot of things that's going on in my life, not because I'm ashamed of it or anything like that, but I guess it wasn't just the time. But some of the things that I deal with is relationships with your children, when it's healthy, but it's not healthy, when it's so much pain that went on both sides. A parent, we're struggling, trying to make it through the day, make it year to year, to take care of responsibilities. And sometimes, during the frustrations of your life, your kids are going through things as well. And sometimes you're just not there for y'all, and y'all bump heads. I really want to talk about that. A lot of parent relationships out there we don't have relationships with some of our children, and I want to talk about that and maybe just get some advice from someone that has been through that. They were able to get over that, have restoration and healing. And even, yeah, that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to be bringing up, and I may talk about it tonight.
Well, we can talk about that right now. As the mother of 7.
Wait. Before she do that, I got to tell you, we got to start it off there. So please tell us the famous question: who is Tinuke? Okay, now go.
Okay, Tinuke. I am the mother of 7, 5 sons, 2 daughters. The grandmother of 14, 7 grandsons, 7 granddaughters. The great grandmother of 9, 7 great granddaughters and 2 great grandsons. And I'm just a woman, a real woman who has been here and it's been there. And a lot of things, and where parents are having the most trouble with their children is they're trying to please the children. You are supposed to raise the children, take care of the children. Your child is not your friend, and your child is a big responsibility. You cannot let the tail wag the dog. Children do not have say so about certain things, and you have a lot of outside pressure because the grandparents want to tell them this, and if you're not with the father want to tell them that and all this kind of stuff. But at this point in time, you focus on the positive. Do things with your children that will channel some of these mixed emotions they have. You could do something simple like have a poetry night where you bring up some of the old poets, Langston Hughes, Cal T. Cullen, Paul Lawrence Dunbar, and you force them to do that. Get rid of the devices. You could even do something real simple like get a bunch of coloring books and everybody just have a coloring contest. Focus on something. You can't stop negativity from coming in your life, but you can put so much positive things in there and just make them simple things, real simple things.
That sounds something because all of my children are creative in their own way, and I think too, like what you say, like I have to learn how to let go too, because I do like hold on,
and you can't blame yourself. We're gonna make mistakes. You're human. You cannot blame yourself, and you don't admit it to your children. Because if you look, and I'm much older than most of you. Hey, if my mama messed up, she wasn't gonna tell me she messed up. I just have to suck it up. That's my mama, and I couldn't question that. And my children, in this day and age, a lot of their peers question their parents, but mine not gonna question. And my oldest child, 53 years old, and certain things he not gonna say. You have to establish your authority, and then throw in a little fun and games. It'll be so much more of a treat than trying to bribe your child, buy them the latest this, buy them the latest that. Don't do that. Don't even make it no habit. So if you do come up on something and you're able to surprise it, they will even value it so much more. Because they're not going to value anything that come too easy. You steady giving, but you draining yourself. You have to have something within to be able to give. And that's a part
that's
of,
deep. That's
true.
That's
a part of loving yourself.
Well, let me ask you this. Before you had 7 children and the grandchildren and the great grands, tell us a little bit about your upbringing as a child?
Okay, well, I grew up basically a little rich girl. My mother had me late in life, but I lost my mother at the age of 10. But before that, we were the first black family on the block, and I was a little brownie going to be a campfire girl and all this. But it didn't feel, I didn't really like the little white neighborhood. I wasn't intimidated academically because that's what I was good at. So when my mother was sick and we had to move down south for a while, I was so happy to be in an all black school. I was just happy. And then my mother died when I was 10. We moved to Texas. And then shortly after that, the Afro came out. And I was just in heaven. Then I went through the militancy and graduated from Jackson State, which is also a historically black university. And I just grew in consciousness. And then I learned about healing. I stopped eating meat. I found out how healthy I could be. Um, I started finding out how I could love God in a revolutionary way. So I am a Rastafarian. And I write and I do poetry and I try to uplift my sister and my cousin.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Now, have you always had self-love? Or do you have to learn it?
I thought I was so ugly. I really thought I was a little skinny, ugly, knock-kneed child. And the only thing I found refuge in my book. You have to, but when the Afro came out, that was the first time I felt powerful. Because when I saw women like Angela Davis and Asada Shakur, and then I learned about Miriam Makeba in South Africa, I started saying, wow. And they carried themselves so royally. And then I started getting off into the black authors. Toni Morrison was one of my favorites, Alice Walker. And then I read J. California Cooper. If you can find a book by her, she'll tell you a lot. Because this sister had a terrible disease. She was on her bed, on her back, bedridden for 18 months. And that's when she wrote her first story. And then and then Nikki Giovanni. And I just started, and I said, wow. And then the more I learned about my blackness, the more powerful I became. And so, and I'm gonna put this is not exactly on the subject, but my little sisters, these eyelashes and these weaves and all this, and these pearls, it is very damaging to your self-image because you're trying to look like somebody else and you're not loving yourself. Not to mention the expense. If you take 3 months of not buying any weave, any cosmetic products, use half of the money that you have saved to take your children to a museum, a zoo, or a play, or even just out to dinner. I mean, it just feels so liberating. You will get addicted to doing things for yourself.
Now, let me ask you this: when you say that, Are you saying that people that would wear eyelashes or makeup, that would you say that they don't think they love themselves?
No, because really they're trying to look like somebody else. I mean, because where does the whole concept come from? Because you don't really know anyone. Well, I mean, you know a few people with long eyelashes, but not to the exaggerated state. Then you have to realize you putting glue and stuff by your eyes. You trying to see for the rest of your life. How healthy is that? And then the chemicals you putting in your head, and then the chemicals they put in this weave. Even if you were doing it just to look cute, is it worth the price to your health? And then the money. Can you afford? Can you afford?
But some people can't afford it though.
But even if you can afford it, can you afford the damage to your health? Can you restore your health? I guess you can if you go to Mayo Clinic and get brain stem cell. I mean, but is it worth it?
Now I don't put perms. I don't do perms anymore, and we know that. I've seen a lot of infomercials about callback about class lawsuits about some of the damages and the chemicals that they use. So I know with my 3 daughters, they never experienced having a relaxer in their hair. And then even when you say, well, I say this, I kind of agree with you with the hair. I think that sometimes you want to just dial up sometimes the makeup just because I think that's fine. But I did go through a journey when I started my locks. That was when I learned how to love myself, like you said, because I used to want to wear eyeliner, because if I didn't wear eyeliner, I felt like I was looking dead. And I went through 30 days when I had my locks, 30 days when I wear no eyeliner, no mascara. And I'm not going to lie, though. It made me love myself and appreciate myself more. And I can go with bare face. I give you that. I go bare face.
And then when you when you want to look, you just change your whole concept of beauty, because like the most beautiful thing I ever saw, these sisters used to silk wrap their hair. And they take this beautiful silk thread and they wrap their hair, and they'd have all kind of sculptures and stuff. and you'd have all the different colors and stuff, and then it's no damage, and then it's silk, and it's just look for healthier ways and things that are more traditionally yourself, is what I'm saying. Because certain things are trying to make you look like somebody else, and the somebody else you try to look like has never had any love for us. So we should love ourselves more to not want to be.
I know when I was growing up too, like it was times where, and even then, because like I'm in my 40s, so back then it was, you know, still like be slim. You couldn't be full body back, you know, back then we had to have, I guess sometimes they was okay with big boobs, but now this time there are people, and I'm not talking or discriminating or think anything wrong with it, you know, but now it is a good thing to be, as we say, full figure.
Well, the whole thing is these little girls, they got this Barbie doll image, so they want to have. Now you see they going to get what they call the BBLs.
Yeah.
So they want to have these little tiny waists. But if you just go ahead and eat, you can have the hips, and you work out, you get rid of the gut. I mean, but they go into extreme message to fit an image that is not your own. Love yourself however you look. I have always had skinny legs, but when mini skirts were out, when I was wearing mini skirts, I didn't let my skinny legs stop me from wearing no mini skirt. Hey, because I had some legs, you know.
You want to show it out.
Whoever you are, yes.
Now I know when you were talking about accent, I want to ask a little bit about when you were in the, I guess when you say, I don't know how to say upper class, or when you were with the other, well, are they considered minority? I guess myself. I'm just gonna say, when you were living in an environment and going to school with all whites, how did you have to go through like bullying or you know, people talking about you because of your skin color?
Well, I think I was in the third grade with this little boy. I thought he was my boyfriend, and somebody had said, "What you doing walking with that nigga?" And that's when I really became aware of it. Because before that, I just wasn't aware. Because since I was one of the smartest children in the class, and I didn't have the kind of mama you were gonna mess with her child, so therefore, you know, I was a little sheltered from all of that. But it's still though, I didn't like. I just felt so much better being in the black school because I was at the top of my class anyway. But I
like you.
Yeah, but I just like being around people like me. I always did.
So okay, so let's get a little deeper too. Like growing up in your adult years, after you was aware of the beauty within, of just loving yourself, the pure you. Did you still go through any type of challenges in your adult life still?
Not as far as health wise, because I perfected the way I eat. Um, like relationship wise, a lot of times the brothers who say they're about the culture and all that, they don't want the responsibility of being a conscious man. They still want to be just the average little whoremonger and stuff like that. So a lot of times when you reach a certain level of consciousness and stuff, it's hard to find a brother that's not damaged to the point where he's just become weak. Which is another reason you should value yourself. Don't let lust rule the relationship. If you just want some random sex, treat him like a random man. He does not need to meet your children. He don't need to know your mama. He don't need to know. He needs to have the price of a nice hotel, not motel. You meet him in the bar, drinks dinner. He takes you upstairs and you got some money to go home. If he can't do all that, then your pussy is not that hot.
Wait.
Leave it like that. Just leave it like that. We're going to put it so anyone can understand. No. I don't want to use the technical terms.
No. Okay. So a person, so when you would say with your daughters, how did you raise them to love themselves? Like, what are some of the things that you can give some tips on?
Well, I made sure that they had A lot of extracurricular activities, like my daughter's in African dance class. They swimming class. They didn't get to go too far. It wasn't no sleepovers. If it was a sleepover, it was at my house.
Yeah, I'm like that too most of the time.
Hey, so close monitoring. They weren't gonna dress a certain way, and there was absolutely no makeup for. You did that after you're 18 out of my house, not because there's something wrong with it, but it presents an image that does not need to be rushed.
Now, you know, now here's the thing that I say sometimes too, and that bothers me. Like, one, when I was growing up too, I was skinny, but I had a nice shape, right, which was already ready for me to expand once I became an adult. And we still, to me, I felt like we still had appropriate clothes for, you know, the appropriate age.
Right.
When I go look for like shorts for my daughters, like they are so short, and my daughters are built too, and it's like I don't feel comfortable with letting my daughters wear shorts that is like
that.
Back in the day we got Daisy Dukes, and I mean, it is hard to find shorts and stuff like that because
well, see, a lot of times you have to go to the and sometimes you have to go to the boys' clothes, the basketball shorts. That's what my granddaughters with it. Well, like a couple of them, they like the basketball shorts, or either you just go to the Bermuda shorts.
yeah, Bermuda shorts now,
or the sports.
They still be too short though, cause my girls like I think I only got two that got skinny legs. The other one I'll be like no, not yet, no. No, but I didn't want to. It is because I don't want to body shame my kids. I think in y'all generation, because you know you and my mom are very close in age, and then my grandmothers, we were taught like you had to sit with your legs closed, or you couldn't walk. You have to make sure that your butt wasn't jiggling too much, you know. And for me, when I was growing up, because I was like this tomboy, so it was hard for me to sometimes just like sit there with my legs closed. I mean, I'm good at it now because I was forced to, but I felt body shamed. And so now, like, I think about those type of things when I'm raising my girls, you know, because I'm like, I don't want them to feel ashamed of what they have, because some people, like we say, go get surgery to have bodies, you know, to fit that at the or BBLs.
Well, I never felt ashamed. I just felt like, girl, your mama taught you how to sit, so you just sit there. I mean, I didn't question that. I was never really ashamed of my body, but the way. Now I saw some little girls recently. They was walking down the street. I was hanging out with these little young guys, and they was walking. The little girl just walking and looking at their behind. And I'm looking at you. The oldest one could have been more than 14. Oh. And one of the boys say, look at the little girls looking at their moms and they we don't want none of that. And I'm saying, so I would rather for them to be a little bit shamed so they won't flaunt it than to think you ain't got nothing to be proud of, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's better they be a little bit humble and modest and stuff like that. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, modesty is not really in this culture right now. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's better they be to the other side and stuff. They'll come out better in the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't feel no way. Like I said, don't be guilty. Don't feel guilty for being a parent.
No, because sometimes because it's hard, you know. And when you say that, I was thinking like, I think sometimes I think. When I say maybe guilty parenting is when you think about the things, especially like, because you know I came from a abusive situation and things like that. And because I was so focused on me healing, now that my children, that I'm realizing certain things that they were going through, it's like, it's hard because it's like, they almost kind of like, you should have known. Like, you know, you was busy. I don't know. I had to explain it. But
no, like, that's what I'm saying. You can't feel guilty. In order to help them heal, you have to heal. And they will heal by you healing. And they can't hold that against you. And sometimes they use that as leverage because children are great manipulators. You pass that, go on, and just keep on having positive experiences. Just do positive things. Maybe take a little 30 extra minutes to do something creative. Like I say, take away these devices, which you know they do a great. You know, have a book. You know, have them do a book reports. Anything. You know, just something else to distract from that energy. You just reach out on that because you can't erase it and move on. Children are very resilient. I know because I became a motherless child. So they still have you. So don't let them use your experience against you. They are still your children.
Now, I got a question.
And you are a great mom. So therefore, don't focus on the children healing. They have to follow. They have to follow you. You don't have to follow them. The tail cannot wag the dog. And by you healing, they'll be healed because they'll be in a healthier environment. It's a domino effect. You don't have to do nothing extra.
Now, one thing I did learn today that I didn't know, when you were saying that you had lost your mom at the age of 10. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey, what you experienced?
Well, see, like I experienced, I think that's the reason I can feel others' pain so well. Because you have to realize from the time I was 1 to 8, we the first black family on the block. We burial floor and everything. And then my mother had to go in the hospital for the first time. So actually, your grandmother is the one when my father lost the house because he went bankrupt paying for my mother's medical bills. Our roof came and got her. Then we end up staying in the projects for the first time in my life. But I didn't realize we was poor. My mother lived for 2 years. Then we were snatched to a totally different culture in Fort Worth, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know, we lived good there. But it was kind of like, you know, it was an emptiness that you can't really explain. So just through the journey of my life, I went through quite a bit of trauma. But each experience has helped me to help somebody else.
Yeah,
And that's what it is. Because I can just, the other day I was coming from the fish market, and the sister that was driving decided she wanted some fish, so she left me sitting in the car. So it was a woman, and I could tell she had seen better days, but I could tell she had seen worse days too, because she was clean, you know, and everything. She walked bent over, so she might have been an ex-drug user, but she was there. She said, sister, she said, she said, let me come around to your side of the car. She said, I was just going to ask you, could you let me have a few pennies? I said, woman, I ain't got no money. All the time I'm reaching in my pocket for $1. And I said, I don't have any money. I said, but I see the queen you are. I said, I don't know your circumstances. I said, but you are a queen. And she said, girl, I see God in you. I gave her that $1. She just started crying. She was crying, I was crying, all that. But it might have been a time that I or somebody close to me might have had to ask somebody for something. And the way and sometimes all you can get on people is a smile. But in this day's economy, $1 is just like giving somebody a penny.
No, that's true.
But you have to feel, because you never know when it's an angel. And anytime when you're down and out, when you're feeling your worst, do a random act of kindness. That will do so much for your spirit.
No, that's true. Because when I'm going through, when I do for others, but let me go back to when we saying that too. Let me ask you this: when I'm down or I'm, you know, going through like even now, when I do for others, that brings me joy.
Yeah.
But here's the question though: when I think like that, am I neglecting myself? That's not really showing me self-love because I'm not focusing on myself as well. Or how?
Yes, you are, and I will tell you how. You're supposed to let your light shine. So therefore, whatever circumstances you're going through is like a cloud to your sunshine. It's trying to dim your light. So even though so the only way you can receive that light is to be a light to others, and the light that you give others will reflect on you.
I like that.
So yeah.
I just see everybody after God gave me that vision myself. It's like I've been hearing it like every day. Somebody else saying something related or a song, and I'm like, you're telling me because when them clouds be in the way, you know, you be feeling that chill, you be feeling, it's just so gloomy. But you're right. Your light never, light, the sun never dims.
Yeah.
It's just
so therefore, so when you radiate to others and stuff, and see, that's the joy. That's the reciprocity.
Like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all this. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with Tinuke. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We'll be back. Hey world, it's your girl Kasira Elvie from the Truth Podcast Show. So next Monday, June 30th, we will not have a show, but we will return July 7th. And make sure you tune in and you share and hear what I got to say. Catch you then. Hey world, it's your girl Kasira Elvie from the Truth Podcast Show, and I'm so honored to share some exciting news with you. My dear friend, Dr. Sharon Pusley, just released her powerful new book titled, An Empty Plate at the Table, A Legacy Stolen by Domestic Violence. This book is more than a read. It's a movement and a tribute to the lives impacted by domestic violence. I'm humbled and proud to say that my personal story is featured in this book, alongside many brave voices who are standing in truth and healing. But that's not all. Dr. Pusley has also released the follow-up, Voice, the sequence to An Empty Plate at the Table. This second book continues the mission, giving even more survivors the opportunity to speak up, heal, and be heard. You can grab your copies today on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Trust me, both books will move you, challenge you, and inspire you. Let's continue breaking the silence. Let's honor the legacy of those whose stories deserve to be told. An Empty Plate at the Table, a legacy stolen by domestic violence, and Voice, the sequel to An Empty Plate at the Table. Available now. Help is here. This is your girl Kasira Elvie from the Truth Podcast Show. We have a couple of things that you can check out. If you know someone or if you are self-harming yourself and you are looking to be set free, here are some websites, organizations, helplines, and apps that can help you out. Talk to you later. But yeah. All right, welcome back to The Truth Podcast. Sorry, y'all, I was up here normally doing a commercial break. I like to tune in and say hi to the audience, everybody that's watching, comment back. But welcome back to Tinuke, Angola. You know what? We were just talking about a little bit, leaving off about talking about kids and, certain things about how you shouldn't let your kids know your flaws or, boundaries, basically. So, but one of the things that I want to talk about, and I can't remember, we were just talking about through the break, I can't remember if I did mention this to you all, but I know I did do a Facebook Live, and when we were talking about relationships, and so this is my lovely cousin who said to me, you just want to feel, you said, I feel safe. So I want you to tell your piece, because that is a part, I think, about self-love when I'm going to say what I'm about to say, and I want you to expound on that.
Okay, like during relationships, I feel like I'm just now at the age of 70 entering into a solid relationship. And the reason I'm saying this, because I don't have any questions about this man. He makes me feel safe without even a physical touch. And you want to look for that safety if you're looking for a relationship. Like I say, don't be so quick to if you already have children, when you meet a man, don't be so quick to incorporate him in the family. Make him prove himself. Take you on dates. Don't go lay up at his house. Like I say, hotel rooms, fine dining.
So what when you say safe, expound on that. What do you mean when you
Okay,
say
safe.
safe?
Okay, you know how when you meet a man, you want to ask him, well, are you married? Are you this? Are you that? And all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, when this man started talking to me, first he told me his living situation. Exactly the living situation. Everybody was in the house. Then, without me asking, he'd tell me in the morning, well, I'm going to do this today and I'm going to do that today, and a good night. It was a whole bunch of attention, and it was me. I never had that before.
It was
And
just attention.
And I'm not a nagging type woman, but so sometimes men will do things that'll make you a little curious.
Yeah.
And you just saying, well, but I've never had to ask this, and this is the first time I felt that like he's going out of his way to show me that I have something to trust.
So like when I hear that, I feel like when you say safe, what I take from that, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally,
yeah.
I feel safe. And you said something about that when you talk about your feminine side, like you could just be.
I could just be me, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have that one day. Soon.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, don't rush it and don't settle for anything less because it's possible. Because right before this, I went through a heartbreak that I partially brought on myself because the man had some of the requirements, but it was a lot of questionable stuff. But I called myself trying to see a brother through a hard time, and I end up with a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be too giving. If a man is going through a hard time, hell no, do not rush to help.
Yeah, because I've been
not rush to help
I've been a fixer.
What you do is, if the brother really wants you and he's serious, you say, well, brother, I'm gonna give you enough space until you get yourself together. And if you want to revisit this situation, you don't be the helper.
Yeah.
That is not your child.
I learned my lesson. I learned.
Because they will resent you for that because you didn't let them be a man, so they'll feel like you treated them less like than a man, and they'll go and be a man to somebody else.
I kind of agree with that because now where I am today, I don't settle because I was through my well, I only had the long term relations I had. I was the everything. I was the breadwinner. I was the fixer. I was the one that did everything. And so once I removed myself from that toxic relationships and I started to love myself and I started to know my worth.
Yeah.
I don't settle. And I've had a couple times in between time when I was, in my process of love myself where I was trying to settle because then you compromise like, well, I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about this man cheating on me, other women. But at the same time, he don't make me a priority though. Like I get what you said because I will weigh that out. Like, but I ain't got to worry about this infidelity. But then you still lose where you say you have patience.
And then a lot of times when a man has more than one woman, sometimes it's not infidelity. So every man is not a one woman man. But the thing you want to deal with when you're in a situation like that, you want to have honesty and respect. One of my best relationships I had, this guy I knew the guy before he got married. I had a crush on him, but our paths never crossed like that. So afterwards, after my baby daddy was acting a fool, we ended up kicking it for a while. But his wife knew, and sometimes I dropped my oldest daughter over there because she had little children. If me and him was going away for the weekend, I dropped my daughter off, and my daughter babysitting stuff. But everything was honest.
Whoa, wait a minute.
And above board, everybody was respectful. It can happen.
Can it? Because with me, that's one of the reasons why I was getting a divorce because I didn't want to be sister wives.
Yeah. Well, like we were, she was the wife. I don't know if I'd have been the wife if I'd have been so accepting. but she was the wife. And like when we went out to clubs, if she was with him out at the club that night, he'd send me $50 or she bring $50.
You said the wife
for
brought
my
you?
drinks. Yeah, say this for your drinks tonight because I'm with my husband tonight. Like I'm saying, we was cool.
Dang.
We was cool.
That's
cool.
another show.
Yeah, like
because
I'm
with
saying,
me, I would be like, no, I don't want to share.
well, like he didn't even make it feel like you were sharing. So, like I'm saying, some men are capable of that. So, infidelity sometimes it's kind of like overplayed and stuff. It depends on how the man handle it. If you're not suffering financially or health wise, it ain't some of those skis and stuff. It's better than some unknown random chick that might have anything God didn't want you to have. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I don't agree,
because at certain times in my life, I wasn't no one man woman, and both the brothers had to know because it ain't gonna be no shootouts in my house. You gotta wait your turn. So
the things I'm learning tonight.
But the thing is, I was my own priority. So therefore, I didn't suffer in either situation.
Yeah. I think that's what God made a lot of people
I
different
wasn't
too.
gonna let no man tell me that I was this and I was that, because I had more than one man. Well, hey, one of y'all wasn't doing something, so one of y'all needed some help.
Dang!
It wasn't my fault.
I
mean, you got to love yourself that much until you have authority over your own structure.
Okay, I understand the authority on structure. I don't think that I would. Well, you know what? I'll say this. And
you always have been a good shooter.
I know, but even like in a dating world right now, I am honest. Like I'm honest, like and not the sexual. But I'm saying like if we're dating, I would say, look, I'm dating for a purpose, right? I'm dating for a reason. I'm not out here just having fun. I mean, I'm having fun, but at the same time, I know what the end goal is. And I'd be straight up honest with them, and I'd be like, hope you ain't thinking about nothing sexual because that ain't what I'm on right now. And some people say you shouldn't say that, but I don't want a person to be led on. Why? Because one, I am attractive, right? And I don't want you to take me for my attractiveness. I want to make sure that you like me for what my heart is, where my mind is at. Look at that.
Well, see, I never felt the need. Like it's one thing to be honest. It's another thing to be a volunteer. I've never felt a need to volunteer.
Oh yeah, I guess I'm an open book. I volunteer a lot
because sometimes observation is the best way. So if I tell you too much, then you're gonna know how to play me. No, I'm not finna tell you nothing. I want to look and see what you're gonna do. Hey, and I'm not blind, so therefore I will see your intention. If you be on some BS, I will see that too. So I'm just gonna act just as innocent.
Now I do watch. I watch. But people don't know that I'm watching.
But don't tell too much though. You don't tell.
Yeah, when I first started
and
dating,
then if something comes
I would bring up everything when I went through the past. I learned the hard way. I don't know, because I hadn't been dating for real as an adult.
And then act away until where, man, if they act like they expected to get some, man, I don't know you like that. I'm insulted.
Yeah.
Then you play the victim and stuff. Oh. You don't tell them they not getting up from Jump Street. They might not spend like they need to. And then, but then,
my goody two shoe.
No. But then if they spend, you ain't bought nothing. You know what I mean? That's for my company. Then if I decide you worth it, that's my decision. Make yourself the priority, because you don't owe nobody no sex. If you took your time, got dressed, took a bath, brushed your teeth, being bothered with them, then
now your company, about the priority part.
Then your company should be enough. And if it flow into that, it flow into that. But no, that's the one time a man ain't gonna get none. Even if I thought I was gonna give you some, if you say just because you did that's nothing, that you gonna get some, no, it's just got to flow. But no, don't volunteer no information. You might need that dinner or that night out and stuff.
Now I think about when you said the part about making a priority. Some of that's the beginning part I didn't agree with, but you are right, because sometimes we will settle to comfort for their comfortability.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I learned.
Especially if you haven't been going out with them for a while. A first date, anything he do is to impress you.
So how many dates before the realness come out, you think?
Oh, sometimes some of it you just know I'm doing.
So you just know.
But if you want him past something, then the first date, now you know, like I say, you can tell them go by the man's vibe. Okay, if he letting it flow, but if he's saying, well, I know I'm gonna get some because I just spent this, then shoes. He gonna spend it, and then that might be one of them times I'm going to the bathroom. You might not see me no more. That's when don't let them know where you stay, because some of them are so arrogant and so ignorant. These are the ones that date rape drugs and stuff. So like certain attitudes.
You know what? Something just happened to somebody that I heard about. I know, and I didn't know that type of stuff really still goes on like that.
Oh,
I think that what we was talking about.
Big time.
You know, I do like. Let me tell you this. Some of the things which I'm still shocked at, but when we talk about well, you saying like sister wives, but that's one thing I wouldn't agree with. But at the same time, even though like the example you gave, one of the things that really stuck out that is really true with self-love is making yourself a priority.
Yeah.
Because I know me being such a people pleaser, and I'm always like putting people first. Like if they need something or I see there's a need, I do put people before myself.
You can't do that.
And that's one thing I learned. You're right. I have to learn how to make sure I make myself a priority.
You know what the tragedy of that is? That's how you get drained. That's how you get drained.
Now,
and then you get drained.
Right.
You'll end up with burnout. And then sometimes it even leads into bitterness. You know what I mean? So
no, you describe it like that's I feel that a little bit sometimes.
And I've been through a lot, but because I don't allow myself to get totally drained, I'm not bitter. Now I've been hurt, I've been crying, I had temper tantrums, everything, but I'm not bitter.
I'm not bitter.
I just use it as a stepping stone.
But that's still a good sign of you have a forgiving heart.
Well, you have to. When you see the love of God, and I know some of the scandalous stuff I did, and I'm still breathing, then who am I not to return that gift to the universe?
I love that. Well, before we say our goodbyes, I mean, I like this conversation. I want to go.
So I might have to come in for a part two.
Is there anything you would like to leave the audience? Leave some more gems. Don't leave about the sister wives. Maybe that's a little close to my heart.
I'm gonna say, hey, arrogance is the mother of confusion, and ignorance is the father. So don't be ignorant in your arrogance, and don't be arrogant in your ignorance. Because a trip can be a trap, and a trap can be a trip. Trip, trap. Light and love.
All right. I love that. You are Tinuke, Angola. Now, I want to tell you all that next Monday, we will not be having a show. I have to tell you, I am still trying to catch up from my successful community giveaway event. I got some things I need to take care of. And so I'm not going to have a show Monday. And like you say, I'm not going to burn myself out, right?
Right.
And then we're going to come back July 7th. And it's just going to be me. It's been a long time since it just was me. I think I haven't did a just me since the first year I did this, right? Priority. And I'm going to just think of some things that have God used me. And I'm just probably going to do some random talk or just do some transparency. And maybe we can come up with some more show ideas. I'm going to tell you a couple of, I told you already one of those, one of my ideas about parenting. And she, you definitely talked a little bit about that. But so have a great 2 weeks, I guess, or a week and a half. And you will see me back here July 7th. I am your girl, Kasira Elvie. This is The Truth Podcast Show. See you in 2 weeks.
One
Peace out.
perfect love.
Help is here. This your girl Kasira Elvie from the Truth Podcast Show. We have a couple of things that you can check out if you know someone or if you are self-harming yourself and you are looking to be set free. Here are some websites, organizations, helplines, and apps that can help you out. Talk to you later.